Hello and welcome to Python on Wheels screencast. This is screencast number 2, and in this screencast I want to show you how to develop your first web application with Python on Wheels. I assume that you have already downloaded Python on Wheels and put it on your system. You can get it from GitHub, and if you have problems getting it or configuring it, I recommend that you just watch the first screencast of Python on Wheels first steps. It's about 6 minutes and then you're up and running. So okay, if you successfully got Python on Wheels from GitHub, then you have and unzipped it, you have something like this on your system. And to develop your first application, you use the generate app script and say Python generate app, and you give that the name of the application you want to create. And in our case, we would like to name it Weblog. You see that Python on Wheels generates all the directory structures for us and all the internal models needed to manage the environment. So we can switch into our new application directory. And we see here the directory structure of a typical model view controller based application. Python on Wheels is completely model view controller based, so you find directories for controllers, models, migrations, views, some more. I don't go into details because we want to focus on the Weblog development. The standard process of web application development with Python on Wheels is that you start with a model. So we say Python generate model, and we want to have and you give that the model name, and for a weblog we want to have posts in there, so we say Python generate model post. That was successfully created and put into the models directory. Next thing we need is a controller, so we say Python generate controller, and you give that the model name as well. So you say Python generate controller post. Okay, it's also successfully created and put into the controllers directory. You can see that also automatically tests are created for us, but for now we won't look at those. Next thing we need for our application is the views. We want to have some views to see something, and Python on Wheels comes with scaffolding on board, and you say Python generate scaffold, give that the model name as well, and fire it up, and you see that it generates all the necessary views for the typical create, read, update, delete actions you want to have to manage your model through your controller. Okay, last thing we need to do is to generate a migration, and a migration gives us the database schema for our model. So you give that a model name as well, fire it up, and the migration is put into the migrations directory, and the name is something underscore post. Okay, so now we open that up, a block, go into the migrations directory, open the post migration we just created, and then we adapt that to our needs. The only thing you have to change in this generated file is the column definition section, which is right here. So for our posts, I want to have 3 columns. First one should be a title. It could be type string is okay here. Next thing should be a content, the post content itself. And that should be of type text. We want to write as much as we want. And the last thing we want to have for each post is the option to add an image to a post. And this is of type binary. You can use actually any SQL Alchemy data type in here, because Python on Wheels uses SQL Alchemy as the layer between application and database. So okay, we're ready for now. I save this. And one last thing to do, I want to show you the database of our application. Open it up. Go to the database directory. You see here the databases for the production, test, and development environment. And by default, we are in the development environment. So I open that up. And you see that there are just the 2 internal tables, but no post table. This is because we generated a migration and adapted that to our needs, but we didn't execute it. And to do that, we need to use the do migrate script. And it has some options, but the most important is -d, which is do migrate in a direction up or down. In this case, we want to migrate up. And you see that it says it comes from version 2, uses the migration post, and it goes to version 3. And that seems to be just what we wanted. And if I refresh my database browser here, you see that we have the post table in here, and it has the title, content, image columns with the right database types. And you also see that PythonOnWheels created some additional columns for us. It does this for every model, of course. And these are handled completely internally by PythonOnWheels. It could be pretty handy to have. So it's created, last updated, and an ID. So okay, we are ready. We have a model, controller, we have views, we have a database table for our model, and so we can start our application. And we do that locally by using the included WSGI server, which is named Simple Server. So we start it up, go to our local host here, and you see, yes, we're up. And what we see by default is the PythonOnWheels welcome page, which is a one-to-one clone of the PythonOnWheels org homepage, but now running locally on your machine. You see it works. It's a functional test, let's say, and Ajax works, but we won't want to see our blog, of course. And we cannot access any of our new post, controller actions, or see our views because we don't have any links to it. So the next thing we want to do is to change that and add a link to our post controller. And we want to have that right up here in the navigation bar. So what I do is to go to the navigation bar in the default template, which is the hero template, copy the home link, paste it, and say post, and the action should be list. You just need to add a normal HTML link, and the convention is controller/list, and that executes that action then. And we name that post list, save it, reload the page, click on the link, and you see it worked. So we have a really running model view controller application. The controller was called, executed the list action. We see the post_list template right here, which was scaffolded for us. We don't see any posts because we haven't created one yet. But here's a create new post button, and we use that. And what you see here is the create template PythonOnWheels generated for us with the scaffolding. It did that very smart. So what you can see is that it shows different input types for the different data types we defined in the migration. The title was of type string, and it became a text, an input type text. The content was of type text, and it became a text area. And the image was binary type, and it got an input type file. And additionally, PythonOnWheels also already added the right acceptance. So this input type will only accept images, no videos, no audios. This also works for the other MIME types. Okay, we can say first post right here. Yes, it works. And we submit that, and you see, yeah, record successfully created. Can go back to the list, and you see in the list view our new post. I just added one more. Say okay, a second one. Still working. I choose an image here directly. Say submit, and yeah, created, works, and you see we can see the image in the list view as well. You can also see that the image view, the list view, just gives us also access to the standard edit, show, and delete actions. These are all created for us. The views are created for us. We haven't coded any single line yet. I go on the edit button, and I want to choose an image for the first post as well. That's a nice one. I say choose, submit, go back to the list, and we see the image here. I say edit, and of course we can cut and paste text into that. And just take one paragraph from the PythonOnWheels homepage. Doesn't matter. I say submit, go back to the list, and you see it works. So we could say that we already have a blog right now. I think it lasted only, let me check, 10 minutes. We can add posts, we can edit posts. It just looks a little ugly, let's say. So we want to change that and make it look a little prettier. And to do that, I prepared a new view. I just want to copy that over to save some time. From the script, it's called post blog simple 2, and I copy that to the views directory, and I name it post blog template. And what we need to do to access that is to add a new action to our controller. We just copy the list action for that. Okay. Rename it to blog. So it will call by default the post_blog template. And what it does is the same as list, it finds all posts in the database and hands them over to the view in the list parameter. So I save that, open our new view, and just to show you that this is no magic, it's just a standard Twitter Bootstrap view. It is based on the Twitter Bootstrap 12 column grid. All views of PythonOnWheels are by default Twitter Bootstrap views. And what it does is it's iterating over the list. We just put it into it through the controller. Each element represents a post. And it says, give us the title here. You see that every model we created gets automatically some convenience method to access the attributes. And the convention is that these always it's always possible through get_attribute names. So you get the title by get_title. We get the last updated value by get_last updated. And let me add something to see that this is really live. We add the created. We can access that by get created. And then I have two more columns on the other side. One where we put the image and the other one where we put the content. So let's look how that looks like. Restart the application. Oh, we forgot to add a link to that. So I go to the hero template. We can copy our post list link and go change that to access the blog action, and we say post blog. And now we can reload. You see here's the post blog view, and you see that this is the new view we just created. I hope you saw that it's no magic to create that. If I just change that here and take away the created date, for instance, I save and reload, you see that it vanishes, it's gone. So I think we can agree that this is a real blog. We developed it in 40 minutes. We didn't code much. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed how fluent PythonOnWheels works and the conventions behind it. If so, you can always check the website, PythonOnWheels.org. Follow on Twitter, PythonOnWheels, or send an email to khzat@pythononwheels.org. Again, hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, goodbye.